My classic but well-loved hi-fi has decided to give up the ghost. So what's happened now is it's stuck on CD mode. I only ever use this for FM radio, and it lives in the shed, which I know is a bit sad, but it's quite a beast. And for some reason, I can't get off CD and go onto tuner now. It just seems to be stuck on CD. I can't eject anything. Just seems to be stuck in that mode, which is a shame because it's a lovely system. I mean, you get a great sound from here. I'm not an audio freak, but the quality of sound I think is really, really nice. Very good speakers, very loud if you need it to be. You can see these speakers here. You've got a large woofer at the bottom, another fairly large one at the top, probably a mid-range, and then a tweeter here. And of course we've got our ports for bass as well. And it is a cracking system. And what have we got? We've got the manual here. What have we got? So this is the European model. MHC-BX5. Yep, that's what we've got. So that's our MHC-BX5. DIN power, 80 plus 80 watts. Continuous RMS, 100 plus 100. And of course our one that sells, the total music power output 170 plus 170. So I don't know what it is. It's probably maybe 100 plus 100 at max. But yeah. So it is loud though. You can definitely feel that in your chest when you crank it, especially when you have groove mode on. It sounds really nice and deep. V groove kind of makes it a little bit too crazy, I think. I don't like that. But yeah, with just normal radio, it's a really nice, rich sounding system. Typical Sony of late 90s, really, or early 2000s. I think I must have bought this in the late 90s or 2000s. I used it for just gaming at the time and other audio. But then since then, it's kind of, because of the size, you can see how big this thing is. Very big speakers. It's just been too big really to have in the house, so it's been relegated to shed, which is a shame because you don't really have systems like this anymore. Very 90s, very 2000s, but huge volume knob. What does it go up to? Max from 34, so 34's max. So yeah, it's a bit of a monster, so if you really want to crank it, it's lovely. But for some reason, apart from power, very few buttons are working. They all seem to be just not responding. It seems to be stuck on CD. If you press anything else, it kind of reverts to being on CD mode. So, I mean, the tape hasn't worked for a long time. That's probably because of the belts. Belts have probably stretched or perished. They always do in a machine that's quite old. But yeah, I can't even get to tuner, which is the main reason for using it in the shed, just to have something in the background. Don't really use CDs anymore, but it seems to be stuck on there. So what we'll do is we'll open it up. We'll see what we can find inside. Be interesting to see what's inside anyway, how this was designed. But we'll see if we can disconnect the CD unit perhaps and try and get the system to not even recognise there's a CD there. And maybe it'll force us back onto using tuner or tape, and then I can swap. But there it is, the Sony MHC-BX5. Let's open it up. So you can see when I press tuner, nothing responds. I can't get to radio, which is a shame. That's all I really want it for. These speakers have got hybrid dual woofer, super woofer integrated. And at the bottom we've got something called VAX, Variable Attenuation Control System. I didn't even know it had that. I forgot what that does. But yeah, there's something else as well. So around the back, dominated by this massive heatsink array, this shroud. We've got optical out, and what's that port? Oh, that's just for the holding the plug itself, so you don't lose it. That's quite nice. Then you've got your antenna. You can coaxial or different antennas there. I think you have a metal option as well to have a little FM AM radio antenna. You've got RCA jacks, and then the classic speaker connections here, because they're just wires. And there's the rating sticker, It actually says HCD-BX5 here rather than MHC. But there we go. 190 watts total draw of power, so that's quite good to see. Then serial number. Doesn't say where it's made, does it? But who knows? And then, yeah, that's the back. So of course this was when tape decks were still high quality. So those mechanisms in there, especially from Sony and others, they were really good. Really nice tape decks. Nice classic TDK in there, look. Probably some 90s music on there. But yeah, they were really nicely designed. Or had the features like, you know, auto stop, auto rewind, etc. You can see it in the bottom there. You could do dubbing, high speed dubbing, all those classics that you could do. So yeah, we've got the side screws here and here and at the bottom. We've also, by the look of it, got this one and this one here. So we've got a few more to do yet. I think this must be the lid, but I don't know if we need to do that one just yet. Excuse the rain. It is England after all, so we're going to expect rain on most days. There we go. Ooh, right, circuit board. So yeah, big circuit board. Nicely laid out. Even tells you you've got the, I don't know what MyCom is. Tuner block, audio block, deck block. So I presume there's a CD block somewhere. I'll have to work out where that is. But yeah, some fairly big chips. Nicely laid out. But I think I'm going to need to go into the other side because there seems to be more access that side. So let's get the other side open. So same deal. Unscrew the two screws at the top. One at the bottom, a small one. And then you've got one at the back at the top and one at the back at the bottom. Then you should be able to slide this out. Comes out and then comes away. And you can see we've got some lugs at the bottom there. And they go into those rails. But check out that. We're into the insides. And wow, quite a lot of space there. I suppose this was a time when a big system didn't really matter. So there we go, we've got mains coming into this top board. And that comes down to this massive transformer. And we've got some fuses just at the bottom there, so that's good to see. We've got fuses down there. 2 of those. There's your tape mechanism. And you can see what's happened to the belts there. They've come off, they've stretched. And over time they've just, they probably lost all their elasticity. And we can even see the spindle there. Just there, that's turned to like an oily mush. There's a circuit board for the display and buttons. And at the back, we've got circuit boards with labelling. So you've got main at the top. And then I can just see tuner block there. We've also got audio block in the middle. And deck block just at the back there. Bottom right, so that must be your tape deck. And you can see they're all separated by these white lines. And then bottom left, what's that? Bottom left, no labelling, but that's going to the audio output. So that's probably, yeah, audio output section. Yeah, so that's probably the audio output section because that's going to speakers and the RCA jacks, etc. And check out this massive heatsink. So what's going in there? Oh, there we go. We can see those components at the bottom. There's another board at the bottom. That's probably the amp board. You can see there's power being fed to that through those white cables. And check out that heatsink. Probably a big block of aluminium, including having those heatsinks at the back. You can just about see those there. Those fins. So a big block of aluminium to take the heat away. There's the components. And you can see they're even stuck with heatsink compound. So they probably do produce a bit of heat. And it's all passive, as you can see, no fan. And there's even a duct, actually. There's a duct there to channel the heat, which is rising up through there and out the back and out through these vents. I don't know if you can see the heat sinks through there, you just about can. So yeah, there's the CD mechanism at the top, and you can see how big that is, probably because it's a 3 CD changer. That's why this has to be so deep. Without that, I guess you could minimize this quite a bit. You could reduce it down, put the boards back to back or something, but yeah, because that's a 3 CD and you can swap CDs while one's playing, that's quite a big tray. And there's some more circuitry for the CD laser, etc. Motors to turn it. So yeah, wow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug these. This looks like power to the CD unit and probably that data cable at the back, and hoping that the system completely forgets about having a CD in here and it'll just divert to something else. Maybe it'll go back to the tuner, that would be nice. So I'm just going to pull that one out. Comes out nice and easy. There we go, just a plug. This goes in there. Let's do the data connection as well. So around the side, there's a piece of, not quite sure what that is. Let's pull this ribbon cable out, there we go, data cable. That comes out. I'm going to give it a try and just see what happens. By the way, removing those wires I don't think has helped, because if you actually look into where the wire plugs in, we've actually got the CD block all incorporated in the middle there. So even by unplugging those, the stereo still knows about the CD. So I don't think the issue's with the top tray as such, or there's at least a couple of issues, because not only does it not eject, but it still knows about the CD even when I've unplugged all those cables. There's a little circuit board up here as well, so might be worth unplugging that if that's possible. But I'm going to check the service manual first to see if there's any hints in there. There's normally some very good troubleshooting. Well, as you can see, I've managed to get a few more bits and pieces off this stereo unit. I've got the lid off just to see if there's anything weird going on in the CD tray. Well, I haven't left any CDs in at least, so that's one thing, isn't it? Lid comes off quite nicely as well. All very nicely designed, just a couple of screws at the back. And inside, I think we've got a date, not a date wheel, but a date stamp. There we go, look. 2000, year 2000. So it's done very well for 23 years. And you know, being stuck in the shed is never the best place for it. But sadly, I haven't managed to resolve the issue so far. But here's the belts. I managed to get a couple of belts off. Those were the main drive belts from the motor. So those are overstretched, and the ones on the actual motor spindle, they've turned into oil, so they're gross. You can just about see down in there, right down there, that is the motor spindle, and yeah, there's a load of gunk on there unfortunately, so that's going to be very difficult to get off if I want to go down that road. But as of yet, no success, so I'm going to go and pull down the service manual. And that's one great thing about Sony, is they do provide service manuals for their equipment, so we're going to see if that's going to give us anything. Well, some success. Tuner, we've got the tuner back. So still can't get to any other options. Well, there's this going up. So it's doing its check to see what's in. But thanks to the service manual, I've been able to do a cold reset. So that was fantastic. Now I'll show you how to do that. Well, you'd never have guessed what it was. But when it's on, you press the on button and the stop button and the enter button, which is just down here, at the same time. So let's give that a go. So there you go, you saw cold reset, and we're back to the demo mode, which is what happens when you first plug it in when you buy it. You can see you got all your flashing lights just going a bit crazy. Now when we switch on, we do get tuner, so that's potentially giving me what I want without having to go too deep. So thanks to the Sony service manuals, we've got a bit of success. I don't know if I'll do a part 2 and dig a bit deeper, who knows, but for now I've got what I need. I'll keep everything plugged in. If anyone knows how to get around the CD issue, please pop it in the comments below, that would be great. But yeah, I'll get this all back up and running, and well, at least we've got radio. That's all I really want. So here's part of the lovely service manual for the Sony. As you can see, it's quite detailed. So there's all the procedures. I'll stick these up on screen for use. We've got all sorts of different ones. There's the cold reset. We've got CD ship mode, hot reset, CD service mode, GC test mode. Wow, exciting. Goes on to another page. IMC test mode. Look at that for a procedure. So we're talking low level stuff here. Despite getting a cold reset back to FM, unfortunately, although we have sound, I can't tune it. Normally you'd be able to tune it using these various buttons, but if I can't tune it, unless I can find a station on the default, still no use. So that's a shame. So cold reset at least got it back to FM, but sadly can't tune it, probably because there's a button issue maybe here somewhere. So if anyone knows of anything else I can try, because the cold resets and other bits and pieces, other procedures didn't help, yeah, if you do know, ping it in the comments below, be much appreciated. But for now, I think that's it. I might do a part 2 if I can get a bit further. Otherwise, this stereo might go into the tip. Well, I'll try and recycle it. That'll be the best way to do it. But yeah, so thanks for watching. Cheers for now.